All right, hello. So I just decided that I'm going to record this Vintage Cube 64-person draft. This is the one that if you go 6-0, you make it to the 8-person draft at the end of the week, and then if you win that, you go to Vegas. I'm already going to Vegas, so it would be awesome if I could qualify for this. I'm not expecting to, certainly, but it's a way to play Vintage Cube for stakes, and it's really fun. And yeah, I've played a ton of Vintage Cube in my Magic career, but not much recently in the past couple years. I used to be quite good at it back when I played a lot of MTGO, and I've been getting back into it recently just for this. So we'll see how it goes. Sorry for the noise from outside. All right. I obviously may not be talking all the way through every decision. This is a semi-high stakes event, so I'm mostly just going to be playing it and giving you guys my thoughts as I play. All right, pack loaded. Modern Horizons 3 cards are nuts, and that's my instinct here, is to take the Flage. There's also a Sneak Attack, which is a good combo card, although pretty clunky. Exhume is quite good. Reanimator is very good in the cube. But I think Flage is the best card in this pack by a lot. There's no great lands. Celestial Colonnade is like fine, but you kind of want untapped lands early. So, yeah. Normally I'd probably take like a dual land over something like Flage. It's right at the borderline, being multicolor. And really needing to be like specifically red-white to make it work. Actually, you know what? Yeah, Flage is really good, but red-white specifically I don't love. I don't think aggro is nearly as... Sorry, that's my cats. I don't think aggro is nearly as good in the cube anymore, and I think Exhume is like a really powerful card, so I'm going to go with that. A little bit counterintuitive, but I think Reanimator is quite strong. All right, what do we have here? We have a very loud car going by. So Pest Infestation is excellent. I really like it. Other notable cards here: Godless Shrine, Underworld Breach, Blood Chief's Thirst, Daze, Caustic Bronco Unearth. A bunch of like medium good stuff here. But I think Pest Infestation or Godless Shrine are probably the two that I would be considering. And I think Infestation's a little bit better. But it's close. It just beats up on some decks so hard, and then even against like an aggro deck, it's still very solid because you can just make a bunch of bodies. It is like an expensive card, which I don't usually prioritize, but I think it is one of the best ones in the cube, so I'm gonna go with that. Okay. Mana development is really important, and I think I'm probably just gonna take this Delighted Halfling. We could also take a Stomping Ground, Emperor of Bones, which does go in the Reanimator space quite well. I feel like this card should be really, really strong. Like, incredibly strong in the cube, but it is just a threat, and it's not mana development. Sorry, I'm eating dinner at the same time. It's just a threat and not mana development, so I tend early in drafts to prioritize the mana and assume that I will get enough good stuff to do with it. That is almost always true in the cube. Chrome Mox is fine, but it's like the worst Mox by a large margin. I think I'm just taking Halfling here. I don't love it, though. Yeah, that's what I'm going to take. Okay, Misty Rainforest, I think, is the best card in this pack by like a mile. Troll of Khazad-dûm would probably be my next pick, because that's a really good combo with Exhume. But Misty is what we want to see. Fetches just give you so much flexibility early on in a draft. because you can pick up duels to play with them. You can obviously just play like a normal deck with them, and they're totally fine. Untapped fixing is really, really good in Cube because you want your mana to be consistent. And then you can also do like landfall shenanigans or graveyard shenanigans with them. They're like combo cards, fixing, and like really good 5-color fixing all in one. I hope that makes sense, that like they're both fixing and 5-color fixing. They're fixing for a normal deck, and they're like a special archetype where you just get a couple fetches and then some duels, and you can play anything you want. Okay. Booming Marsh lets us play our Exhume. It's untapped early game, which I like a little bit better than the Surveil lands, I think. Ghost Fire Slice is fine. Top is fine. Elite Spellbinder is fine, but I think I'm just going to go with the land here because nothing in this pack is really exciting. Ewit is fine, but like 3 mana is a lot to pay for a thing that doesn't affect the board in a huge way anymore in the cube. So yeah, I'm just going to take the land. Okay. Escape to the Wilds is a really good card, but I maybe just want to play this Sheoldred's Edict. Interaction is really premium if you don't have power, and it's looking like we're not going to be like a fast mana deck. We don't have to be black, certainly. This is a close call. I don't think I want a land, although I could see taking the Temple Garden just to stay open. But white is not exactly one of the colors I'm most excited about splashing. No, you know what? We should stay flexible. I'm going to take the Temple Garden. Okay, Nissa is interesting. I haven't drafted any Nissa decks yet in the cube, but we have a good start for one. So I'm leaning towards that over like Commercial District, which is fetchable with Misty. So it's worth considering. I don't love anything else in this pack. Souls of the Lost is maybe a good Reanimator enabler. And we've kind of seen that be open, but like not really. I don't think we're getting strong signals that that's a direction we want to go in. I feel like Nissa is in the direction we want to be going already. So we're going to want to prioritize landfall stuff, fetches, etc. We've got a decent start for that already. Okay. Liliana is a really good Reanimator direction card. So I think I'm going to take that. We're probably not playing Liliana and Nissa in the same deck, but that's fine. Liliana can be cast with Delighted Halfling, which is really good. Yeah, I'm taking this as a possible signal that we could be in Reanimator. Yeah, these 3 cards coming around makes me think that this might be where we want to go. I'm not sure which one of them is the best, but this can fit in both decks, so I'm going to take it here. Okay. A lot of good stuff. I think I want the cheap interaction. Godless Shrine could be fine. Caustic Bronco, pretty good, but not exactly in this style of deck. Oh shit. I'm gonna take Blood Chief's Thirst. Oh, okay. Alright, so the Emperor came around. I think this is the place we want to be moving now. For sure. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so we know what space we're in. I don't know I haven't drafted this deck exactly before in this version of the cube, but I've seen it. So, oh, that's a nice pickup. I think we take that over the land. Okay, so I think we're in the open space, which is the goal after pack 1. And we're still pretty flexible. I don't love, like, the power level of our deck right now. We need, like, some more instant win combos or some better interaction. But we're in an okay spot, for sure. Barrogoyf, I think, is really strong. It's Barrogoyf, Grist, or Scrubland, I believe. Grist is also an incredible card. These are both just like insanely good 3-mana threats. And I'm probably taking one of them over like Llanowar Elves Once Upon a Time or Scrubland. I think I want to go with Grist, but that could be wrong. Grist is a card that was like insane in old versions of the cube, is still very good, but may just be worse than like one of the new cards. But I think I want to go with it. It's slightly more on theme, very slightly, I believe, for like a Reanimator shell. I'm going to go with Grist. It's harder to interact with. Well, there's power. We like to see that. Unfortunate that we have to pass Animate Dead, but it doesn't really matter. I'm pretty sure you take fast mana over almost anything in the cube, even when it's off color. And it still could be on color, but again, I don't think white is really one of the colors that you end up splashing very often, just because like white is the main aggressive color in the cube, actually, not even red, I don't think. Obviously, white and red are the two aggressive colors, but I think white is actually more of like a linear space. But anyway, yeah, it sucks that we're passing this Animate Dead, but you don't pass Moxen. You just don't pass Moxen. Okay, we've got fast mana with Dark Ritual or fast mana with Avacyn's Pilgrim. I think we are more of a creature deck than a stormy deck, especially in the space of black-green, so I think I'm going to take Pilgrim. We have so much incidental white fixing, so like anything white that we can pick up will be useful because we can play it for almost free. But yeah, other stuff relevant in the pack for us currently is like, I mean, there's really not much. I don't think this card is good. Maybe there's some combos with it that I'm not aware of. Glimmer Lens is a good white aggro card, but you don't really want to splash it. Exploration would need to be in a deck with a lot more card draw or like landfall synergies. We obviously have Nissa, but it's probably not, we might not even be playing Nissa. Yeah, I don't think there's really anything else in the pack, but we're pretty happy with the Pilgrim. Okay, White of the Reliquary seems really good. Breeding Pool as well. It's always a consideration because there's cards like Psychic Frog in the cube. I don't think we'd take Frog right now. I mean, we do have Misty. I don't think it's worth going out of our way for when we have white already here and we can pick up more graveyard stuff. Like there's Malevolent Rumble, we have a Bloodghast in our board. We could be like a kind of assertive graveyard deck. I think that's worth over the Breeding Pool. I'm kind of going to trust that the cube designers know what they're doing here a little bit and assume this is a real deck. Okay. This would be a great white card to splash if we could also splash blue with it, but I don't like that. I can pick up more ability to splash blue, which might be okay. I don't think this card is good. I don't like Brainstorm. I don't think I like Tarmogoyf, even if we're in like green-black graveyard, although it could be fine. It's just pretty replaceable. I'm just going to take the fixing. Okay. Nethergoyf is quite good. Terrasunder is quite good. Leovold is quite good. I think I want interaction. I think we are going to have to be a more interactive deck. Because we don't really have like combo stuff quite yet. We're not really in the direction of being able to do like a super synergistic Reanimator thing. We keep passing good-ish blue cards for like blue fixing or good green-black stuff, but I think that's appropriate because we kind of do want to splash this Escape to the Wilds if we can, so I'd rather pick up red fixing. I'm going to take this. Okay, this is red fixing, which I like. It's also half of a Reanimator enabler. So I think we're going to take that. I don't love any of the other cards. Yeah. Okay, Shallow Grave, Watery Grave. Which grave do we want? Shallow Grave is like really good if you can get a couple particular cards. We did see an Emrakul, I believe, in pack 1 of this pack, but we don't have a lot of ways to get it in the yard. I think I'm just gonna keep taking blue fixing It's just so easy to find ways, like powerful blue cards that you want to splash. I like Once Upon a Time a lot. I think I'm taking it over another piece of blue fixing, although it's close. We have a couple lands that sometimes enter tapped already, and Once Upon a Time is really good at making your deck more consistent, which is mostly the name of the game in Cube. Vengevine could be good, but Taiga is just too valuable to pass up for our Oliphant and Escape to the Wild, so we're taking that. I hope for people who are maybe less experienced with Cube, you can see how highly I'm prioritizing fixing. Like, we are not even necessarily in a very, like, splashy multicolor deck. I mean, we kind of are, but kind of aren't. And I'm still, like, taking good fixing over all but the cards that I feel like I really need. Tribal Flames I feel like could be good here. Let's go with that. I don't think Brazen Borrower is good if you're splashing it. Okay, so for blue fixing, we have Sanctum, Watery Grave, Misty. Sure, that can be a card if we need to like pressure a Storm deck or something. We've got a couple Talismans, which is good to know about in case we need more mana development. And then red fixing, we have just the Taiga, but that obviously can also be fetched by the Misty. And then white fixing we don't actually have that much of, which I'm kind of happy about. Okay, Bowmasters is nuts. I think we take that. 6 is also quite good. Mox Diamond is good. Force of Will is good, but not in our deck. Zagoth Triumph is something we'd love to have, but it's also a tapped land, so I'm not like incredibly attached to it. I'd much rather have like a fetch that can get Grave or Taiga or whatever. Well, I guess maybe Misty's the only one that does that? No. So there are others. But yeah, Bowmasters is great. It lets us pick up a draw 7 potentially to go with it, although this isn't really a deck that is good with draw 7s, so I think we're just going to play it as a really powerful card. And we're kind of a mid-range deck. Kind of a mid-range deck, which means we're going to need to be interactive. Okay, Overgrown Tomb is excellent fixing, but we already do have fetchable green-black fixing. It does enter tapped. We're at 24. We are kind of low on playables, actually, because 24 minus 7, we're going to need... Well, I guess we'll need to minus 8, so we're going to need like 8 playables in this pack. I think I'm leaning towards Sentinel just as like a solid threat that you can play early. And we're gonna really lean into like our mid-range game, I think. Might even play this Ulvenwald Oddity. Playing Exhume just as like a solid value card with our Enter Oliphant. I really wish we had Troll of Khazad-dûm because that card is much better than either of those to reanimate, but we had to pass it. Yeah, I'm going to take Sentinel. Very good mid-range threat. Okay, Woodfall Primus is kind of realistic to cast and really good to reanimate. We don't have a lot of ways to get it in the bin yet, which would be the issue. Unfortunately, there's not a ton else in this pack that's like at all playable. We could splash a Remand or a Baleful Strix. We do have a good amount of blue fixing, but I don't love that. I don't know here. We do have a Blood Crypt to fix for red. This is a gut call. I don't know which of these is right. Do we have any red to splash? Tribal Flames? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna take the Blood Crypt. Oh boy. Trop, but we're running out of red stuff to play. Ajani is insane, and we do have a couple of white cards. I don't like going in this direction where you're like really split between splashing a lot of cards. So I may just take something else, but we're running out of time to find like good blue cards to play. is the thing. Huatli is fine, but on a splash, I don't love it. You know what? We're gonna try to be... What are we gonna try to be? What are we gonna try to be? I'm taking the Trop. Okay. This is weird. We've gone in kind of an unexpected direction, but I think we're just trying to read what the draft is telling us. Brawler is fine. It's a good threat, especially with all the mana that we have. Nothing else in this pack is good besides like Inti as a reanimator thing, but we passed up the Woodfall Primus, so I don't think we want to be doing that really much anymore. I'm going to take Nashoba, I think. We could take Vindicate, but we can't really splash it. Alright, I'm taking Brawler. Recurring Nightmare? How much does that do? Kinda not that much. Kinda not that much. Ulamog is a reanimator target, but we've just seen all the good reanimator stuff too late in this draft. Really unfortunate. Tracker is fine. Volk is like... We don't have blue cards. Keep forgetting we don't have blue cards. I'm gonna take Tracker, and we're just gonna have to be like a interactive green mid-range deck. Okay, this is a good card. I'm happy to see that. I'm taking it over Bone Shards because we're not able to be in the reanimator space much anymore. This is a good card. I think it's better than Copperline Gorge, although how much red fixing do we really have? We have the Blood Crypt and the Taiga. 30 minus 10. Okay, we need playables. I think I'm going to take Foundation Breaker. We're probably playing this Ulvenwald Oddity. And if we're a mid-range deck, we're really going to need good disruption and interaction. I'm really glad to see this Llanowar Elves come back. That just adds some much-needed speed. Okay, Atali could be playable. I don't like Lava Spur Boots. I don't like Corpse Dance. We're not playing this Botanical Sanctum. But we are playing the other blue lands because they're good with Brawler and Tribal Flames. We might play Atali. Jitte could be fine, especially in like creature matchups. I'll put it in the board for now. Huatli is a good pickup. I like to see that. I think it's better than Library or Keen-Eyed Curator. I think. Yeah. I haven't played enough with Keen-Eyed Curator to know. Okay, that's good. Okay, this kind of came around a little bit for aggro. It's gonna be an interesting build. It's gonna be an interesting build because I don't know how much we want to lean into the reanimation given that we just have an Emperor of Bones and an Exhume. But we did pick up a couple enablers for it really late. And we do have enough fixing to potentially be like an actual Jund deck. It sucks that we kind of wasted all the blue fixing we picked up, but we didn't totally waste it because of the Tribal Flames and the Nashoba Brawler. Something like Ulvenwald Oddity is just not a really great card, so like I'm happy to cut it, even though it sort of is on plan with like what we're doing pressuring wise, but like you want a lot more out of your 4 mana in this cube. We've got some decent interaction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish pieces, 7 pieces of interaction. That's pretty good. We've got definitely like not like really fast mana, but fast enough to compete in the cube against the non-ridiculous decks. And we're going to be putting creatures on the board and pressuring our opponent, and then we do have ways to like draw cards and get value as the game goes along. That might be the one thing that the deck is a little weak with, which is why I like Huatli, Tireless Tracker, and Sentinel as our mid-range threats. And then these are going to hopefully do a lot of work on that end. Yeah, the number of lands to play might be interesting, and as well as source counts, as well as whether we play Jeté. Okay, I'm not super happy with this deck, but it's not a train wreck. It's not a train wreck. Waiting to see what happens if I get put into like a deck building thing or something. I guess they have to wait for the rest of the draft to finish. So we might be here a little bit. Let's try to build. So I kind of want this to be like our 17th land, because it really doesn't do a whole lot besides be a land, a colorless land that you can play for free. Even though we have these three, I think, yeah. Okay. White might not even be very good in this deck. I feel like we can actually cut it. And then I think we do want Atali for like late game. The question is, how many red sources are we actually going to be able to play? Because we only have the Taiga and the Blood Crypt for fixing in that direction. So like, this is a forest. This is this is a swamp. This is an island. So like, we actually don't have a lot of fixing, which is pretty unfortunate. We have like a minimum amount of fixing, but playing something like Atali might be tough. We obviously do have creatures and spells that fix, so like, we're not abysmally sad. We could play the talismans, but I really would rather be playing something relevant on 2. Okay. Source counts might be tricky. So we've got, let's say we play 17 lands if you include the Mox Pearl. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 8 basics that we're playing. 8 basics. I kind of want to play 16 lands because of like the 3 mana elves and the 2 cyclers, but I'm a little nervous to do that just for source counts. So let's see where we land on source counts. 8 basics. What are our current counts for green sources? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I would want, I'm going to open up a notepad actually. I think I would want at least 9 green sources for this deck, hopefully 10. So we're going to say 3 forests, and then how many black sources? I think I want at least 8 black sources. How many do we have right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 swamps. That gives us 9 green, 8 black, which is not amazing, but fine. Notably, we can fix for black with either Oliphant or Generous End, so it's a little bit plus black sources, and we don't have that many black cards, so I could even see going down on a swamp to quote-unquote 7, but really more black sources. And then how many mountains can we play? It depends on if we want 10 or 9 green sources. So currently red sources we have 1, 2, 3. 4 if you count Oliphant, 5 if you count Generous End. We're kind of equally red and black almost. So I like playing 2 mountains. That's 7 lands. And so 2 mountains would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it would be like, currently we have a basic to play. You guys can't see my notepad, but what's written on is just 3 forest, 2 swamp, 2 mountain. And in my head, I'm doing the math. We have 9 green sources, 7 black sources, and 5 red sources. and I'm trying to decide whether I want an additional red source or an additional green source. And I think the answer is a green source. I think we want to go to 4 forests. We really, 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 really want to draw exactly 1 green source, and we really don't love drawing 2 green sources, which does make the mana in this deck a little bit awkward. We could just play 16 lands and go with the 9-8-5. Or sorry, 9-7-5. It could also be 9-6-6. I don't hate that, but we do have a Liliana of the Veil and an Emperor of the Bones and an Orcish Bowmasters and Bloodchief's Thirst. These all want to be played earlier, whereas the only red cards that want to be played earlier or have double pips are these. So it's like, these lean me... I should do this in a separate pile. I have 4 black cards that lean me towards more black sources and only 2 red cards that lean me towards more red sources, even though we have sort of a fake equal amount of black and red cards. Let's do it this way. So I think I want the 9-7-5, and then the question is, do I play the 17th land when we have Once Upon a Time, 3 mana dorks, and 2 land cyclers? Or do I play 16 lands with all of these mana sources and play something like a Jeté or a Talisman or a White or a Nissa or a Openwald Oddity or whatever? I think it's close. It's really close. I think my tendency has been to default towards like playing too many lands in my Vintage Cube decks because I want to have like enough source counts or just enough like ways to kind of do that. But we do have so many ways to have extra lands, and if we're at least fine with the source counts just on our basics, which is 9-7-5, or just on our lands if you include Mox Pearl, right? That's what I meant, just on our lands, not including the spells. If that's the case, then I think I want to default to playing some more action, especially because this deck only has, like, well, it does have Inti to discard extra lands and Liliana to discard extra lands. Tireless Tracker means landfall is good for us. Nishoba Brawler kind of wants lands. Once Upon a Time can equally find creatures. I think I want to play 17, and I think I want the last land to be a forest. I think just adding that amount of consistency is important. I could be wrong. I could be over-indexing on like needing quote-unquote theoretical consistency in our deck as opposed to just like what's actually going to be a problem in games where we flood too much. But I think I like that. So we're going with this mana base. It's 33 cards, and then we're playing... Oh, wait. Is that 41 somehow? Am I miscounting? Was I counting 8 lands or something? Okay, so 33 total, minus 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 24. So we're already playing 16. Okay, that's actually kind of nice. We get to cut a card to play a land or play 16 with exactly this set of cards. That is a more interesting question because I think this set of cards is all very good, and I'm not sure if there's a card in here that is worse than that 18th or that 17th land. But that would, again, it is kind of disappointing because it brings us back to the 9-7-5. Maybe Tribal Flames is bad? I don't think so. I think Tribal Flames is good. I think we probably go with this and 975. So that is 3 forest, 2 swamp, 2 mountain. And just to check our counts, so this is 16 lands with the Mox Pearl as a colorless land. Source counts, we have green 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 green, which I think is enough. We'd like 10, but 9 is enough. Black 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 7, and then red 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 9, 7, 5. I think that's good enough. I'm gonna go put my dinner away, and I'm gonna submit this deck for now, and I'll come back to it later if I have adjustments, but I think I'll stop the recording, and I will see you guys in round 1.